Welcome back to my shop. My name's Guy, and this is the last in the series I'm doing. I'm building this, which is a bathroom vanity. If you've missed the other two episodes, I'll leave a link in the corner for you to take a look at. This time I put all the parts together and make a bathroom vanity. I get it painted, I install the drawer slides, I also install the door hinges. So there's a lot of work to do. Stick around and I'll show you how I finished it. Well, I've got everything all clamped up. I had to use some parallel clamps to make sure that I got the face frame flush to the panels. I've used these little angle clamps to make sure everything stays square and perpendicular to the face. Cleaned up all the glue squeeze out. There's a little bit here and there, but I got all of it, and this was very uneventful. After I let this sit in the clamp for about an hour, hour and a half, I'll take the clamps off. Then I'll do the middle panel and the back. So the cabinet is basically assembled now. And first thing I want to do before I can go any further is I need to get rid of this little bit of a lip right here between the frame and the side of the cabinet to flush all that up. I've just got a router set up with a flush trim bit. I'm just going to run it along that edge. I've got the bottom and the top on. Those are just held in place with screws. Next thing I need to do is start working on a piece of molding that's going to be applied, that's going to go all the way around the top. So this is the profile that I want to get. It's going to be 3/4 of an inch high. This is 1/2 inch MDF. And I've got a cove molding bit in the router table. I need to make one pass, then raise it up, so I've got about an 1/8 inch here and about an 1/8 inch here on each side. And I'm going to do one side, do the other side, and then rip them down. So here's the final piece of molding, and it's going to go up underneath the top like this. So it's going to add some real visual interest to that. I really like the look. So this is just going to get glued and pin nailed in place, and I'm just going to go over the miter saw, cut the 45s on the front, and then do the sides last. There's the molding applied. It came out really, really nice. I really like that look. Well, there's the feet installed on the base of the cabinet. Unfortunately, I lost all the footage of cutting them and mounting to the bottom of the cabinet, so you really didn't miss much. I just cut them up with the bandsaw and then screwed them to the bottom of the cabinet. I've got the cabinet upside down. I've masked off the inside, and I've got it up on sawhorses. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spray 1, maybe 2 coats of primer on this to get it ready for the final coat of paint. Well, I sanded down the piece with 220, I've dusted it off, and now I'm getting ready to spray the first coat of a semi-gloss latex paint. Well, yesterday I ended up spraying 4 coats of paint on this, and it dried real nice and flat. Right now I'm working on the drawer slides. As I mentioned before, I'm using undermount drawer slides for this. I'll bring the camera a little bit closer. I can show you how I install these. So I've got a set of the drawer slides installed already, obviously, and I prefer to use the type that uses the bracket in the back rather than on the side. Since this is a face frame cabinet, if you try to do it on the side, that means you'll have to scab a piece of wood onto the side of the cabinet. And I really don't want to do that. I'd rather put it in the back. These are 14-inch drawer slides. The cabinet depth is 15. They don't make 15-inch drawer slides, so I just had to, like I said, scab a piece of wood onto the back here to screw these in. Let me show you how I install these. Wish I could tell you there was an easy magic way to install these, unless you buy a $30 or $40 jig to do it. But they're still finicky even with those jigs. So I've got to raise the slide up at least a 1/4 inch. So I've got a piece of 1/4 inch MDF right there, and it needs to be about 2 millimeters back from the front. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it like that, and then mark a position for the screw. Now I've got that hole started, I can go ahead and screw this one side in. After I've got that screw installed, I put on the back bracket, and I just want to put it on there and just kind of line up to where I think about it looks level. I'm just going to extend this back straight so it butts up against that board back there. I'm going to remove this. Now, I mentioned before there's really no easy way to do this, so this is just going to help me try to get that square to the face frame of the cabinet. I need it to be square to the face frame of the cabinet, not necessarily the sides. And this is important. So after I've got this piece mounted up here, I can just take a known good square and try to get everything all lined up the way it needs to be. All right, now if that one's in, I just need to do the same thing to the other side. Well, there's the two slides installed, and they're pretty close to where they need to be. I still left a little bit of play in here. They're not completely tightened down. The next thing I need to do is mount the slides to the actual drawer itself. Well, here's the 3 drawers installed. It took me about an hour, and I'll be honest with you, these drawer slides can be a little bit fussy, but you just have to take your time and be patient. The most important thing to remember with these, when you're adding a false drawer front to it that rests up against the frame like this, that these in their closed position sit behind the face frame, and it's also even. So they have to be even this way and even this way with the face frame, because when you put those drawer fronts on there, if they're not, you're going to have little gaps all around. It's going to look like crap. I'm ready to drill the holes for the 35mm cup hinges. Obviously I've got a 35mm Forstner bit. I've got my fence set up. I just need to make a couple holes. Well, after installing the hinges and adjusting the door so it hangs properly, the cabinet's done. The paint came out really well on this. It's the first time I've shot latex paint through a sprayer, and I couldn't be happier with it. I hope the customer is happy with it too, more important than anything else. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section below. And thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.